Coming up, how involved are pop stars and superstar DJs in actually making their own music.
Turn it up, turn it out, feel the high, feel it now, we're running.
Good morning, guys. It's another beautiful day, making music, spending it in the studio. But first, I'm actually heading to someone else's studio to record a little bit of guitar for my new We Runnin' track. As you know, I finished it last week, but there's like one tiny little bit that is still missing, that doesn't sound right. I mean, there is already a guitar part in the track, but it's not perfect. It just doesn't work 100%, so trying to re-record it. Because, you know, my guitar playing skills, they're kind of okay. I can write melodies with the guitar, but it's not perfect. It's not good enough to end up in one of my tracks. So just getting someone else to do it for me. Oh, I just love this car. Good German build quality. Just don't trust it with the CO2 emissions.
Breathe it in, let it go, feel the high, feel it all, we're running.
Okay, made it to Justus' studio. He has a really nice studio with all of this nice outboard gear. For how many years are you actually playing the guitar?
Oh man, I've started playing when I was 11, I think.
11,
so it's, yeah, like almost 20 years.
Okay, so there is no way I can have like 20 years of guitar playing experience. I just started like 2 years ago and I'm not so dedicated training it. Yeah, let's actually get started. Done with the guitar recording session back in my studio, and now I can finally say that the We Runnin' track is finally all done. I will actually use like small snippets of it for the background music of this video. And as you know, my channel is all about my life as a musician, as a music producer, as a DJ. And a lot of people always ask me how involved are actually like musicians, pop stars, EDM DJs, and actually making their own tracks. And today is a good example. I can't play the guitar good enough to actually use it in my own music, so I need someone else to do it for me. And that's common practice in the music business world. The bigger as an artist you get, the less you're actually part of the music making process, which is a little sad, but it all has to do with the entire market situation and a whole lot of other factors. Let's talk about it. Let's actually start with a simple example of one of the bigger tracks of this year. I will just pick It Ain't Me by Kygo and Selena Gomez, just because I actually know the two of the people that were involved in the making process of this huge hit. I mean, you can also look parts of it up on Wikipedia. There's like a big article with everyone that was involved, the release, the marketing, critical response, and chart performing and everything. And right at the credits and personnel point, it says Kygo, composer, producer; Selena Gomez, composer, vocals; Andrew Watt, guitar, producer, vocal producer, composer, songwriter. As you can see, songwriter wasn't mentioned at Kygo's and Selena Gomez plays. Brian Lee, composer, songwriter; Ellie Temposey, composer, songwriter, and it goes on. Tom Coyne, mastering engineer; Zerben Genea, mixing engineer; Ben Rice, vocal producer; and Louis Bell, vocal producer. I mean, that's an insane amount of people involved in making this one song. And the two that actually end up on the cover and are part of the release are just Kygo and Selena Gomez. And that's totally standard for big modern pop tracks that are released, that are played on the radio, that get into the charts. That's how you actually make music nowadays. There are actually three main reasons why it's done this way with so many people. The first one is money, efficiency, more people working on it. You can split the task, work faster. The next reason is that you actually end up with a better result. That's like probably the most important factor. The more specialized the people are, the better you will have the individual parts and the better the end product will be. For example, on this song we have two persons that are just dedicated to the vocal production. So they get the vocals by Selena Gomez and they just sit there and correct it. They kind of Photoshop the vocals, use auto-tune, Melodyne, reverb, EQing, compression, everything that is needed to make it sound as it does in the actual track at the end. And another huge factor is having less risk, actually, because those big artists, those big labels, whenever they release a song, they invest a whole lot of money. They hope that they get that money back. With Kygo and Selena Gomez, it's probably pretty sure that they will get the money back. But especially with smaller artists, it has just way less risk, and it has to do with how this process is actually coming together. It's not that those people are all sitting in one room for a week or two or a month and make the music. It's actually usually starting just with 2 or 3 persons, maybe 4 like small groups that are actually doing those sessions. So if you didn't know, sessions are usually organized by publishers, Sony, Universal, Warner. They have signed people to their publishing, usually singer, songwriters, vocalists, and producers. They put 3 or 4 or maybe just 2 of them into one room or into one studio for an entire day. They write music. It's like talk very fast. They make sometimes like 2-3 tracks a day, maybe just 1 track a day. They sometimes do camps where they sit for entire weeks and just write music. They do demos, so not finished tracks, and everything is a little rough, but you get a general idea for the song. And then this demo gets sent or actually pitched to big artists with big names, with big brands that have like all of the structure to release a huge hit. And they then just pick, usually the artist with the management and maybe a consultant, they pick a track where they think it will actually work, fit to their style, and be worth it to release it. And this way, again, you reduce the risk because you have plenty of tracks to choose from. You kind of almost know what you will end up at the end. Like the songwriting is all done. The lyrics, the melodies, the chords, everything is laid out. It's way more efficient and inexpensive to have like young people that are trying to make it in the music world, that are actually talented, to sit in one room instead of having Kygo and those specialized people that are composers and mixing engineers, to have them sit in one room. In some cases, and I think in the case of Kygo, he was actually part of that session with the 2 other guys, like playing the guitar and doing like the chords and everything. I don't know if they already did the vocals right in that session, if they had a singer there that wrote the lyrics, or if Selena Gomez wrote them. But usually the big pop stars, they don't write their own lyrics. I think that's pretty known that there are other people dedicated to writing those lyrics, and then you have someone, the performing artist, actually performing, singing the song and like performing it live on stage for everyone to enjoy. And it's again all at the end for like having the best end result. With my own tracks, it's usually that I get, of course, a singer and songwriter. Those are 2 things I absolutely not able to do. And like the guitar playing, it's not good enough to end up in my tracks. So usually when I do the sessions, it's me, a guitar player, a singer and songwriter. And we then also make the demo, and at the end I finish the demo here in my studio, like the production, the mixing, the vocal production, and everything else from that point up to the end result of the track. The only thing that someone else is again doing is the mastering. And also in my case, the mastering is done by someone else, just to have someone else overlook my track and at the end check it to make really sure that the best possible result in my circumstances and with my possibilities is actually being released at the end. 2 of my friends are actually always like part of the David Guetta camp kind of that they organize, usually in the US, because you have there just people that are speaking the language native, and in LA and around LA they have like a whole lot of studios and a whole lot of people that are just moving there to try and have like a career in the music business, and usually the younger people that are trying to make it are part of these sessions. I think also Lady Gaga was for a long time like a singer-songwriter in those sessions. She wrote a lot of songs for other people, and then if you do this for like 3-4 years successfully, it's just way more likely to have like a bigger career as a singer and songwriter, as a performer. For DJs, it's usually first trying to make more like club dedicated music that is working there and played by other DJs, and then slowly trying to make it to the more like pop EDM influenced songs that are also played on the radio. And at the end, the big question is, how much are those people even involved? Like for the singers, for the Selena Gomez kind of people, It's usually just like going to the studio, or first selecting the right song, going to the studio, record it, and then performing it. This way she doesn't have to spend like a month in the entire process of making the song and can just tour. This way everyone ends up with more money. Like the classic thinking of someone sitting there and making everything himself or herself isn't really happening a whole lot anymore. Maybe Ed Sheeran, but still there you have someone that is taking care of the vocal production, of the mixing, mastering, of putting the instrumental together. But I at least think he's like writing his songs himself. But you never know. It might be just part of the image. At the end, you never really know. It's just like all about building up that brand. And especially with those collaborations like this one with Selena Gomez and Kygo, it's like two huge brands that kind of work together. Selena doesn't have to take care of the production thing. Kygo and his team is taking care of that. He gets her like promotional value, her name, her brand, and she also his. So at the end, it's a win-win situation for both of them, and everyone else that is involved gets a share. Like the songwriters and composers usually get like a share of the royalties, maybe also from the master. I'm not sure about that. And for people that are talented in the music making process but are maybe too shy to stand in front of thousands of people and perform, it's a good way to still make music full-time, make money, have someone else standing in the spotlight and doing the entire show thing, and they just can't focus on actually making music. You don't have anymore this like a band in a room practicing and then developing a song, then recording it, then performing it. That's kind of all gone. It's more like globalized, split apart. I can bet you like the mixing engineer doesn't even get to see any one of the other people. He just gets the stems sent, is working in his studio and sending then the pre-master, or actually like the unmastered version, to the mastering engineer. He then makes the master that is then put online and like on CD and into all of those stores on your phone and everywhere else. There's also another way to make music, or actually not to make music, but to buy music. And that is like ghost producing. As you know, I did that for 2 years. I produced music for other people that then took my music, released it, put their name on it, and no one knows that they actually can't produce anything. They don't have a clue about music at all, but they have a big brand, and it was worth it for me to work for them. This way I could make music for like a living for 2-3 years, and then switch to actually make my own project and advance with that. So that's kind of the same as for people that want to become a big singer. For a DJ, ghost production might be a step in between to actually making your own music. But as you know, I already made a video dedicated to just ghost producing. If you're interested in that, I will link it up at the end. Let me know what you think about this entire topic. If you think this way of making music is the right one, if it's not the right one, how should it be done in your opinion? Where do you see like the benefits, advantages and disadvantages? And now it's time for me to actually make music, my own music, and not buy it from someone else. Working on a remix that I can't share, as I already mentioned in the last couple of days. So I will now dive deep into this production and hopefully finish this remix tomorrow. Actually, I don't know if I will be tomorrow back in the studio, but there will be definitely a video out tomorrow, and Monday the latest back in the studio, continuing working on the next single. And before I end the video, don't forget your last chance to actually win this keyboard. Just check out my Instagram and Facebook, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Signing out. See you tomorrow again.